Hi, this is Bob from Turbot. If you're looking for a quick demo of Turbot Guardrails features, you're in the right spot. In this demo, we're going to show how you can continuously assess your GCP projects and resources with CIS controls using Turbot Guardrails. Now, one of the benefits of using Turbot Guardrails for your CIS benchmarks is that it continuously assesses the posture of whether or not your GCP resources are meeting recommendations as new resources are created or there's changes to existing resources. So therefore you get instant recommendation status within your Turbot Guardrails console or through alerts that you can send to your team members. To get started with using these benchmarks, you can install the CIS module within your workspace and then enable those policies to set CIS across your projects. So once you have that installed, you can head over to your controls page. You can go to the GCP section. Alongside to the rest of your GCP guardrails per service, you also have a CIS control section as well. In this case, I have the CIS Benchmark version 2.0 enabled. And once I click in, I can view each section of the CIS benchmark to see what my adherence is per section. You can click in further. So here I'm clicking into the section 5 storage. I can look at those two recommendations. I can drill in further where I can look at section 5.2, that whether or not my storage buckets are meeting uniform bucket level access being enabled. Now here I have a few buckets. Some are meeting the policy, some are not. Very similar to any other Turbot guardrail policy, I can make exceptions to the rule. So I can skip resources or I can change the policy per resource per control. So in this case, I'm going to take this Acme demo Turbot GCP bucket, and instead of it following the CIS recommendation, if I wanted to make an exception to the rule, I could simply make an exception anywhere in the resource hierarchy. So whether within the region or the project or the folder structure. Here I'm just going to take this individual bucket. I'm going to choose to skip the CIS recommendation. I can then expire that decision. So let's say I pick just for 30 days or some custom period of time. And then I can hit create. Behind the scenes, this is now setting the policy to skip this bucket from being evaluated for this control. What guardrails will do is now put this in a skip state. So if I go back to my control policies, I'll see here that this bucket is no longer being evaluated for CIS and it's set to skip. And the rest are still within their same alarm state. To show you how Turbot Guardrails reacts in real time, I'll go create a storage bucket and then we'll see how Guardrails will pick up that bucket and then evaluate for CIS immediately. Going into Google Cloud, I'm going to create a storage bucket and then hit continue. And the one that we're focusing on is around the uniform and fine-grained access. By default, the GCP policy is uniform controls, IAM permission controls, which is the CIS recommendation. But with any configuration, one can set outside of the default, or whether in the console here or through an API or through Terraform. And so any default configuration can easily be changed at creation or during the runtime life of the resource. So here, if I go and create that resource, that's going to be now created within GCP. And within Turbot Guardrails, we'll discover that resource as well. Go back to the Guardrails console, hit refresh. We'll see that the bucket's already picked up. And now Guardrails is evaluating the CIS benchmark policy with also discovering that the resource exists. We'll now see that this bucket was evaluated for section 5.2, and it's saying that the recommendation is not met. And so that's how quickly that Guardrails can pick up the resource, discover it, and then evaluate for CIS recommendations. Now, these notifications come through the console. You can also query them through the API, but you can also subscribe to those alerts, whether through email, Slack, or Microsoft Teams. You can also ship them off to other endpoints to pick them up in other systems. As an example, I've subscribed to this through my demo notification Slack channel, and we can see a notification was shipped off to that channel. You can subscribe to these alerts where your teams are, where they collaborate. You can send them these notifications, and then from there, if the team has access to Turbot Guardrails, they can click into it, view it. They can also set policies to help enforce the control as well. And so here, this Acme demo GCP control, I have a number of controls that I can set. So in this case, if I wanted to set the access control to fix it, I can simply go to the policy And so here I'm going to set the policy to enforce uniform, which will correct it from fine grain. Hit create. Now Turbot guardrails policy is set to enforce uniform IAM configurations. Guardrails will go and update the control. So go back to the recommendation, go and refresh. And now we'll see that guardrails had set the configuration. Turbot guardrails then reevaluated the control, and now you're in a green state. Now, if you're interested in applying these guardrails in your environment, please reach out to us at turbot.com/start.